Well, unfortunately, boys, the man event will not be making a trip to the World Series this year. The Bucs have an up and down night again on Thursday night, but walk away with a win. Hey, we got to give a special shout out to Cozy Coleman and his cousin for their drive-by today. Perdue knocks the number 2 out of Iowa. Mandatory vaccinations at corporate and government levels are right around the corner. And it's been another solid work day for the Man Event crew. Stay tuned for our greatest release yet. Woo. Until then, let's hear from you. It's Sunday night. This is a live show, and this is the Man Event. Dude, so I mentioned it's been a busy day for the Man Event group today. We put in another solid work day. I tell you, my favorite part, or there are probably two. One of my favorite parts is while we're set up filming, this dude pulls up in his Ford Explorer, whatever that was, and he's like, "Hey, what are y'all doing?" So I start sharing with him. Oh, we got this YouTube channel where I know you guys. I watch you guys all the time. I didn't recognize y'all. I thought to myself, I was thinking to myself, I was in the shower earlier. I was like, I should have asked that guy what his favorite short was.
Right? You really called him out there. But hey, if you're watching us, Mr. New Orleans Saints fan guy, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Slash Gator fan.
Yeah, slash Gator fan.
Yeah. I tell you, the other funny thing was we're standing out there on Bayshore.
Whoa. Give them away. Secrets away now.
Well, nobody's going to get anything out of standing out there on Bayshore.
Okay.
And, we're standing out there on Bayshore, and I'm dancing to just, arbitrary. And people are stopping running, stopping riding their bikes to see what we're doing. And I'm like, this is embarrassing. I look like a complete fool, and people are stopping.
The question was, they wondered, did they call 911? Is this guy having a seizure? What's happening over here, man?
Well, part of me thinks that, yes, it is a little embarrassing sometimes having the camera out, having the props out, doing our thing. But then part of me says, you know what? They're just curious. They're wanting to know what we're doing. Yeah. They probably want to get in on it too. So, don't be so embarrassed when you're out there doing these kinds of things.
Yeah, so I think once we release this, which, like I said, will be the greatest release we've had yet, in my opinion.
Greatest.
And there'll be a lot of background stories to share on that. That'll be fun to get into that. But for now, stay tuned. All right, so let's get into the NFL. So a rare week that the Bucs are not playing on Sunday. We played Thursday night. I think I saw 3 wins in the last 12 days for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's not a bad 12-day run, by the way, in the NFL, right? So, guys, how did the Bucs look? TSG, break it down a little bit for us.
So it looked like the Buccaneers were well on their way to just dominating this game, and they were up until third quarter. Around the end of the third quarter, we started getting into some old Buccaneers ways, and we let the Eagles back in. So anyway, I'll give you some of the stats. We beat them in almost every stat in the book: passing yards, rushing yards. I mean, we crushed them in time of possession. We are 39-56 to 20-04 possession. Okay, we had 27 first downs to their 16, 399 total yards to their 213, almost double their yards. Now, where did they come in? What happened here, right? Penalties. The Bucs got to clean these up. 7 for 120 yards. I think Chief said the penalty was their best play.
Yeah.
Right? They only had 4 penalties for 41 yards. What they did do well, and surprisingly on the Bucs that nobody does, is they rushed for 100 yards. We had 102 yards, but their yards per rush were 5.3. They were much more efficient than we were in the rushing downs. So, we made a couple of mistakes. We had an interception, but they also had a turnover as well. But I think our going forward on fourth down at a critical point in the game helped them, forge that comeback, where if we had made them drive the entire length of the field, that might have made things a little harder for them, a little worse. But for a minute there, it was close. We had to tighten up, and the Bucs pulled another one out, which a win is a win. What do you think, fellas?
Yeah, wins are definitely wins. Now, those two PI penalty, pass interference penalties, I think they totaled almost 60 yards combined.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those was not a PI. Why it got called, I don't know.
Well, one of them was a complete mugging.
One was an absolute mugging, well deserved. And it's probably best that I can't remember who. I think it was Dean who did it, because there was going to be a score if he didn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was one of those he was going to catch it. So,
and he made up for it later. He got a pick six, or not a pick six, but he got a pick later.
He got a pick. So those happen. To me, it's the false starts and the offsides.
The penalties are ridiculous. How is a Super Bowl champion team this penalized? I think I saw on the color commentary of that game, we're the second most penalized team in the NFL right now.
I think we are the most penalized team in the NFL.
Maybe so. I mean, I wouldn't argue with it. From what I've seen, there's nobody going to say no. Absolutely not.
No. Either one of those is bad, right?
Yeah, either one is bad. Yes,
right.
So we need to, and this is not typical of a Tom Brady team. He, last year he got onto them third or fourth game, and I mean he lost it. He said this is unacceptable. I don't know that he's done that yet, but somebody needs to light a fire or pinch it. They're winning despite of this stuff, which is the difference a year has, the experience they have together or playing together, and they're able to pull these games out that a lot of teams would not. Old Bucs, this kind of penalty margin, we would not have pulled these games out.
Yeah.
So it's just stupid mistakes. I think, Chief, I know you're going to touch on the defensive play here. The defense has been atrocious at best pretty much all season. I was very surprised to see the Eagles' approach, because it wasn't the offensive approach I think any of us were expecting to see based on the game plan that we'd seen in the previous 5 games. But between that defense and these crazy penalties, it's just been crazy. But how did we look on Thursday night defensively?
Okay, so it's kind of a lot to unravel here. So first of all, the secondary was back, say, 3/4 strength at the beginning of the game. We had Dean playing. We had Sherman, in for his second game. And, things were actually – the secondary was looking pretty good. Next thing you know, Sherman goes out. Sherman out now for at least 3 weeks with a hamstring injury. So, that hurts us, for now. Luckily, our bye week is not for a couple of weeks, and he's going to get a chance to rest through the bye week before he comes back. Second half of the season, I think we're going to see a much better secondary. Okay, so let's talk about the run game. Yeah, this is the first team to put 100 yards up on us. But let's not sound the alarms on the run game yet, because quarterback Jalen Hurts, had 44 of those yards. I mean, so that means that the rest of the offense only scored, only piled up 56 yards rushing against us. That's more typical. Jalen Hurts is a quarterback who makes a lot of things happen with his feet. Okay, he's a la Patrick Mahomes, Michael Vick going back a couple of years. So if you don't contain him, he's going to burn you, and he did. That's not really a true. I know it counts for runs, but it's not really a true run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like they had him running quite a bit on Thursday night, but to your point, they didn't really contain. So he got outside, a couple of times and made some plays.
They had a good containment plan, but he found breaches in that, and that does happen. Let me just say, it was the third quarter. Okay, this is where I got frustrated with the defense. The third quarter, we're up 28-7, and all of a sudden, here comes the second string defensive line. Oh, and I mean, that second string defensive line got bullied. And you know what? They should have been bullied. They're second string for a reason. They're not as good as Vita Vea. They're not as strong as Ndamukong Suh. You know, they're not as fast as Shaq Barrett. I mean, they're none of those guys. They're second best in every one of their positions, and they got bullied. I was frustrated to see that the coaches allowed it to continue. You know, they marched the ball down the field, and when you got in the 30-yard line, I really felt that, you know, first team comes in and shuts us down. Limits the damage that's been done maybe to a field goal, but they didn't do that. They just let these guys go ahead and play. I guess they assumed, you know, with a 21-point lead that was insurmountable, and it almost wasn't.
Well, if you set this game up a little bit, you know, we talked about the week before when we played the Dolphins, like we thought every Sunday would be like that. Like we'd be bored at halftime. What are we going to do? Right. This game, by the way, was headed in that direction. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And then what I was frustrated about there, Chief, to your point, the second team defense comes out, they give out a touchdown. The very next series, the first team defense goes out there, they get a stop, and then we send the second team defense out there again, and they get scored on again. Yeah. Like you didn't learn your lesson the first time. It just makes me wonder what the strategy is there. Like, hey, is Bruce Arians and the coaching staff truly trying to give these guys a breather? You know, hey, it's a long season. I don't know what it is. You know, now, you know, most of this team, especially all 22 starters, they had less of an offseason than anybody else in the NFL, right? So is that part of it? You know, they played none in the preseason. None. Mm-hmm. You know, and now, you know, giving them rests and in a game that with three touchdowns up, I guess you can afford to once. It's the twice that made it frustrating. Yeah. Pooh Bear, I know you've been waiting to say something.
I was going to say that the frustrating thing to me was in the fourth quarter, I think in the third quarter as well, there was two series with just some terrible offensive play calling where, you know, in third and short yardage where you should be running the ball or throwing short passes to a tight end, basically high percentage plays, they were taking shots toward the infield, downfield, which is fine when you're behind or fine when you're trying to, you know, grease them on a little bit. Here, you're trying to play a run control or a ball control game where your defense is tired. They just left the field and got scored on. Control the ball a little bit, get it down the field, maybe even just cross midfield to get a better punt so that you can give your defense a break before the Eagles came back to the field. And they just couldn't get it done. They went 3 and out twice. Brady had some bad throws. It may have been because of the thumb. We're not certain, but that was just frustrating to me. It appeared to be some terrible play calling. It could have been better.
And you think too, you just reminded me that, you know, the game wasn't nearly as close as the score indicated. Right. Until the third quarter, the Eagles had only run one play on the Bucs side of the ball, on the Bucs side of the field. One play. So up till then, the defense had been great.
Yep.
Right? Better than we've seen all season.
Well, and that's the thing. I looked at the stats in the second half. We only had the ball 4 times in the second half.
Really?
So we had the ball 6 times. Sorry, I think it was 8 times in the first half. So what that means is that the Eagles had the ball for a lot more amount. You know, they were driving down.
Well, time of possession wise, I think we dominated that game. Time of possession. So I think some of those, even though we may have only had a couple of possessions in the second half, I think 2 of them were pretty lengthy.
Well, that in the first half, we had all those first downs. It seemed like every play was a 10-yard gain for a first down.
Yeah.
So that's going to extend that time of possession and the amount of plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pooh Bear, keep up with that conversation. What do we see out of the offense?
The first half, it looked really good. Antonio Brown and Leonard Fournette were getting some great catches, short, high percentage plays, high percentage receptions. I think Cameron Brate got into the action a little bit. And O.J. Howard, we saw O.J. Howard have a fantastic game in replacement for Gronkowski, who's injured with cracked ribs. So, I mean, the offense was looking really good in the first half, and I was encouraged by what I saw. So, you know, it was a little disappointing to see some of that go away.
In the first half, they legit looked like they could score at will.
Right.
That,
And it may have been the adjustments the Eagles made. I mean, let's be honest. They're a professional football team. They do have a fantastic front four defense who probably should have shut down the running game all night, even though they didn't. Leonard Fournette, I think he scored like 27 or 28 points.
I was say, hey, listen, if I could say a special thank you to the Jacksonville Jaguars, like picking up playoff Lenny has been huge for us.
Oh, man.
And I think clearly he's taken over the main running back duties from Rondé Barber. I'm sorry, from Ronald Jones.
Ronald Jones, yeah.
But, but I mean, dude, right now the guy he had over 100 all-purpose yards between receiving and rushing. I mean, the dude has just been a beast for the last couple of games, and obviously he had a great playoff run for us too.
He's huge.
One of the things that Pooh Bear mentioned was the fact that Philly has a really solid front four. And I think one of the reasons we were able to run on that front four is because we threw the ball completions to 8 different receivers.
Yes.
And they didn't know who to cover.
5 on the first series.
5 on the first series. How about that? So, when you are having to, take your linebackers and drop them into coverage, that really opens up the run game. That is what it was, I believe, was able to. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Fournette, but I mean, honestly, the door gets opened and he just bowls right through it. So really good to see.
He had 6 for 49 yards receiving. Howard did, and then Fournette, he had, another 40-something yards in receiving, and he had 81 yards in rushing. It's a big chunk of our offense. And you're right. He's clearly taken over the duties, and he is something to handle. He is tough.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think Tom's most difficult job is spreading the ball around. I'm not saying he's not doing a good job at it, but look at who he's got to throw to between AB, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, and add the tight ends. Because I mean, I know Gronk is our TE1, but we got some other good tight ends on this team too. Like those are, and by the way, those are all ego guys who want the ball.
Sure, they do.
And they're probably pestering him in team meetings and stuff. Or hey, I was open on that play.
I'm open on every play.
Right. I don't think Tom sees them like that. I think Tom sees them as option A, option B, option C. This play is designed to go first to option A. If option A is covered, or if this defensive player is in a certain position, option A is no longer option A. Option B is now my first option. So I think that's how he sees it. It doesn't matter what your name is. I think that's how he sees it.
It sure looks after the last 2 games that AB is option 1.
I agree.
Actually, I disagree. I think AB is option 2, and option 1 is Mike Evans. Mike Evans is double covered. I heard some people complaining, the other day, where's Mike Evans been? Mike Evans is double covered every single play.
He's going to draw the best defensive back.
He is doing his job. Just by the fact that he's on the field and he's drawing 2 defenders away means that somebody is either uncovered or they're only on man, or in an open zone. So Mike Evans is doing his job, and I think he's still option 1. But don't put the ball in a bad spot just because that's your first choice, and that's what Tom Brady's doing.
Yeah, exactly, Chief. I think that's exactly what makes Tom Brady is that your average run-of-the-mill quarterback is gonna think that way. He's gonna be like, well, Mike Evans is the tallest, best, fastest receiver I have. If he's double covered, I'm still gonna get the ball there because he can get it for me. And that's not the way to approach things if you have even a subpar arm. But you have the weapons that the Buccaneers have, Chris Godwin's coming in the flat. You got Giovanni Bernard coming out of the flat. You've got AB crossing the field. You got your big old tight end coming across the middle. You've got all these options. You don't have to force it in there. So good point.
0 sacks against our offense.
Offensive line. Hey.
Yes, thank you.
Kudos to the offensive line. The run game is strong. Brady's got a clean jersey. I bet you somebody like a Cozy Coleman is sitting back there going, that's the kind of offensive line.
Yeah. Hey, and I like what they're doing with O.J. Howard, getting him out and that swing out to the right. That's a big boy coming around the corner with the ball in his hand with a head of steam. You better come in there and pack a lunch.
Yeah.
What do you think O.J. Howard's most – let me ask you this, guys. What do you think is O.J. Howard's biggest value to the team? Is it on the field or is it in trade?
Ooh. Well, that's a tough question because we don't know how much longer we're going to have Gronk, right? I think Gronk is on year 2 of a 2-year deal. So, and I think that he's tied to Tom Brady to some degree. And listen, Brady's made no commitments to the team that he's going to play next season yet. I know he's got a contract, right?
Mhm.
But he's
Right.
made no commitments he's going to play next season. So I think it's tough to trade him when you don't know if Gronk and company are going to be back next year, because you would certainly need O.J. Howard.
Or if Gronk is even going to be available to play. This is the second, season with the Buccaneers, and he has not played a full 16 games just yet. Regular season, I don't think.
Well, I think he played most of last season, but historically he does get hurt a lot.
Right. So and this is a rib injury. It's a cracked rib or maybe even broken rib. So that's kind of hard to be like an injury-prone type of injury. It's not like a reoccurring hamstring or a reoccurring bicep or something that keeps failing on you. This was a bone injury, kind of hard to kind of, limit or predict. So hopefully if he comes back healthy, he's 100%, he's fine, plays the rest of the season, no more worries. But, if they do need a position piece, that is a position of glut, if you will, with Cameron Brate also, and it's a desirable target or a desirable asset, get him some TV time, let the other team see him, get him some game tape, maybe so. There's got to be a defensive back that's unhappy with their
I was going to say there's got to be a
team.
corner or something.
That is my point right there.
Well, that is a good point, and it would be worth if we could get something like that. If we can't, I think the Bucs' initial plan, I don't know this for sure, except for my deep internal sources that I have. But what I think their plan is, hey, we got Gronk. Let's let him be the star, use him up, and not really use Howard too much. And we're fine with that because next year's contract year. And when he comes to the table, he doesn't really have anything to bargain with.
He doesn't really have anything to
Ben
bargain with.
Archer, they know his potential. We'll sign him for a nice, good deal. And then we'll have Gronk-esque, not Gronk, but when he's gone, have another guy with that big size that Brady likes in case he hangs around for a third year and utilize him.
We'll see. But let's get through this year. Let's get another Lombardi trophy.
Yeah, let's get on our part. All right. So I'm going to move on because we got a lot going on. We got a lot still to cover in today's show. Hey, we kind of made part of last week's You Can't Fix Stupid, the story about John Gruden, who this week it turns out he copped up to much more than what we originally knew.
It got stupid.
And he took the back door out at his own doing, including, I think the reason it's worthwhile talking about it here is, John Gruden was in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Ring of Honor. The key word is was in the Ring of Honor. So he gets removed. Wednesday. Yeah, he gets removed this past week. And the rumor on the street is that he had some derogatory things to say about the owner of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, they're pretty much like, hey, it's our team and our money. And,
right.
we're taking you out of the Ring of Honor.
And there's no secret that each organization and each, entity is going to try to distance themselves as quickly as possible from John Gruden and what has been alleged, not really alleged to said, but has been
I think he's owned up
reported to have said, right. So there's no secret there, but I think the icing on the cake was the direct insult to Brian Glazer, one of the owners, who, he's in full control of who's in that Ring of Honor or not. And you're going to disparage him with something like that, you're going to be gone pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, just question, do you think John Gruden sees a job either in broadcasting or in coaching ever again, or does he ride off into the sunset?
It's going to be tough, man, because things are too fresh right now. And we don't know the full extent of this. This is all, again, I don't know if we mentioned this last week, I think, but in case somebody doesn't know, this is all in result of the investigation against the Washington football team and their alleged problems in their front office with sexual harassment. Okay, apparently it was a hostile work environment. The NFL and some other independent agencies are investigating this. That's why these emails were uncovered. They're going through thousands and thousands of emails. This was the first email, the disparaging remarks to Maurice Smith were from John Gruden to Bruce Allen, who was the GM at the time for the Washington football team. So that's why all this stuff is coming to light, but it is not done. We have no way. There could be other coaches implicated in this. John Gruden's brother Jay could be implicated or have some sort of problems with this. You've got Dan Reeves. You've got, I mean, just a litany of other, historical figures in the NFL lore.
One of the lessons here is like, hey, just because you deleted your deleted doesn't mean it's not still out there.
Right.
Right. I mean, and listen, I'm just saying from my company standpoint, we archive. Right. So regardless of whether, you feel you deleted it off of your machine or out of your account or whatever, it's still there. And part of the reason, obviously, is like, because of situations like this, you never know when you're going to get subpoenaed or audited or something like that. You got to have all that stuff. So, like, don't be stupid and put it in writing, or how about just don't be stupid?
Right. Just, don't disparage people in a professional manner. If you're going to disparage somebody, I mean, do it face to face. That's the best way to do it. Tell them to their face.
Yeah. All right. So, do we want to recap where we're at in the current fantasy survivor man event challenge?
Well, let's see.
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard, Patrick.
Yeah. Hey, where'd Patrick go? He's gone.
He wizarded himself off.
Hey, so week 6.
Who's still alive?
Yep.
He's still there. Week 6 is a bad week for me, but it was a good week for the Jaguars. Actually, this is the one game I did get right. We picked the Jaguars over the Dolphins. Myself, B-Love, and TSG got this one right. We all picked the Jags. Pooh Bear's the only one that picked the Dolphins. Things take a bad turn for me in the next game. Packers versus the Bears, where the Packers prevail. B-Love and Pooh Bear get it right. Yeah, I get it wrong. TSG doesn't get a pick.
He picked the Jags.
He only gets it one. He only gets it right for once, though. He can't get it right for all. Third game. This one just ended. Man, I really thought this one would be closer. Cardinals beat the Bears, and B-Love only one to get this right. Where does he come from all of a sudden?
Boom! Look at that, boys. I'm making a comeback.
I know. Not that long ago, he was over.
3-0 week.
That makes him 3-0 this week, man.
Yeah.
We call it the Big 500 now.
Yeah.
Woo! Look out, y'all.
Yeah, so our overall rankings, TSG with his affinity for the Jacksonville Jaguars is at 6-12. Here's a hint.
What?
Stop picking them. B-Love and Chief for
12.
Yeah, man.
How is that?
You keep taking the Jags when you're not here.
Yeah,
I turned in my picks last week, man. I put it on YouTube. Everybody, look how I'm being treated.
Look how I'm being treated.
This guy's straight up protesting.
B-Love and Chief are at 9-9, a perfect 500, and then in the first place, yours truly 10-8. Thank you very much.
All right, so what's my record again?
99.
9-9.
All right, so I'm only one game behind you, is what you're saying.
You're at 500, sir. I'm in first place.
Go.
You're in second.
Let's go.
Chiefs in last place.
Chief,
Well,
before we get into
tied
this
for
week's
second
picks,
as well.
before we get into this week's picks, does anybody still surviving in the,
I was going to say,
main event Survivor
how
League?
is the Survivor League going?
The Survivor. So here we go. So Survivor League, some interesting things happening this week. 4 of us left. Us. That's me, by the way, not you other 3. So still in it. 3 of us have picked the Rams to win this week. So those 3 are going to go through. There's still one cat out there who we don't know. We won't know till tonight. He has chosen the Steelers over the Seahawks. So we'll see how that works out for him. It's a bold move. Bold move. I honestly feel that's a 500 game. It could go in either direction on that one. If Big Ben's on, then he's going to be just fine. If Big Ben's having a bad night, I guess that's the way every football game is, though, right?
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the picks that are coming up for the games this week. The first game we're going to talk about is the Broncos at the Browns. And TSG, I'm going to let you kick us off, man. Who you got? Since you've been consistently picking the Jags for every game for a couple of weeks, we want to make sure you get an opportunity to be heard. And so I'm going to let you go first. Broncos at the Browns.
If you guys are my friends, I don't want to meet my enemies. I'm going with the Browns. Finally, I'm going to pick the Browns. All right. I'll pick the lowly Browns.
All right, Pooh Bear, who you got?
They got the pound dog, the dog pound. Sorry.
The pound
That
dog.
sounds terrible.
Oh,
The Browns did not have a good showing against the Cardinals today, who look like the best team in the league right now. To be honest, man, that's gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna the Broncos. I'm gonna go with the Browns as well.
All right, Chief, who you got?
You know, I'm going to stay with the Browns. I went with the Browns heavy at the beginning of the year. I still like the Browns. They're fundamentally good football team. They're playing at home. I'm going Browns.
Man, I feel like in an effort to make this interesting, I should pick the Broncos.
Yeah, but the Broncos are just bad. They're losing to the hapless Raiders right now.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with you guys. Nobody will pick up any ground on this game next week. I'm going Browns as well. All right, so the next game, Bengals at Ravens. Chief, who you got?
You know, if we were picking this game 3 years ago, it's a no-brainer. I would go the Ravens, but it is not 3 years ago. This is 2021. Joe Burrows and the Bengals. Even though they are going into Baltimore, I am going to go with the Bengals.
Wow. Okay. Pooh Bear, how about you?
I'm going to go with the Ravens. I do like the Bengals offense. I think they are putting up some points on the board. Joe Burrow does look really good, but I don't think their defense is going to be able to contain Lamar Jackson and the run game of the Ravens. Yep. So I'm going Ravens.
So obviously you can tell I'm going Ravens as well. TSG, what do you got?
I got to go Ravens. I mean, they're 5-1. I mean, and they're at home.
I don't really lose on this pick because Lamar Jackson is my fantasy quarterback in the other league. So, you know.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, since you survived Survivor League, you know, just so that you have a fair shot of winning, how about you pick the Ravens in Survivor League?
Oh, wow.
Even though you picked the Bengals here.
I'm probably not going to do that.
Hedge your bet.
Hedge your bet. All right, and the final game is the Eagles at the Raiders.
I forgot the banners, man. We had the banners for all this stuff.
Yeah,
sitting here writing things down.
Today.
I'm sorry. I struggled. The sun got to me. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I think the Raiders are playing really well for Rich Bisaccia. They're winning right now against
they one game really well for Rich Bisaccia, but okay.
But they've been playing well up to this point, and if they got over this whole mess with Gruden, then hey, they should be all right. So I don't think the Eagles have
to imagine that the culture of that locker room has completely changed without John Gruden there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you got the Eagles going from East Coast to West Coast. That's always a problem. The Eagles aren't a very good team. Raiders seem to be playing better. I'm going with the Raiders.
So the Raiders have had 2 losses in a row.
They're winning today, though.
Yeah.
Okay. They're winning?
Don't tell them that. It's not over.
No, sorry. They're terrible. You're right. You're right, TSG. They're an awful team. David Carr broke his spleen. It's fine.
Broke his spleen. All right. Chris Sims is playing quarterback. All right. TSG, who you got?
And they're playing Denver.
Yeah, tonight.
Yeah, so I'm terrible. Listen, I'm just the guy in first place making all the right picks. You go ahead. You're in last place. You tell me what. You tell me who should be.
Wow. He's in first place by 1 game, by the way.
Hey, first place is first place. They don't count. They don't ask the score after you win the trophy.
That's true. That's true.
All right, I'm going to come back to TSG because clearly he's
thinking about it.
So Chief, who do you got? Eagles at Raiders?
First of all, I hate the Eagles. I hate all Philly teams, so I cannot pick the Eagles. Secondly, I feel that the Raiders are going to win this without John Gruden. Greg Olsen is still the offensive coordinator. That is John's biggest impact. That was Coach Gruden's biggest impact right there was the offense. Greg Olsen is going to be just fine running this thing without him. He was our offensive coordinator a few years ago. He does a good job, so I'm going Raiders.
You know, I think I'm going to go Raiders as well. I'll be honest, I was kind of on the fence on this one, but I like the momentum change, I think, in Las Vegas right now. I think you're right. I think, you know, Gruden had this team at a certain point. I think the negativity that has surrounded that locker room in the last couple of weeks starts to fall off, and these folks are looking to identify themselves away from that, man. And I'm taking them for a W against the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going Raiders too.
Did you say Jaguars? What?
So here's the deal. I'd hope to get a little more diversity on these picks, but the reality is it comes down to the Bengals and Ravens, guys. You know, if the Bengals win, boom, I'm wizard hat for the week.
Listen, here's the deal though. You're the one who picks the games. I mean, you could have picked some harder games to pick.
I really thought these games were going to be a little more diverse from that. I thought people would not pick the Raiders because John Gruden is out, and you know, and the Browns losing a couple of games and not looking great today. I thought some people would go Broncos. I really thought these were going to be divisive.
Well, listen, if the Raiders hadn't gone into Denver today and it looks like they're going to win with a minute left and 10-point lead, then I may have not picked them. But I mean, the Eagles do look okay. They don't impress me. And the Raiders, I think, have a better team. But yeah, well, and the point is too, we pick games that are going to be completed by the time our show comes on. So that's also eliminates a lot of games that we can't pick from. So that's the reason why sometimes we don't pick those. And if we obviously can't pick any of the Bucs games. So we're all going to pick the Buccaneers. So it eliminates a lot of. And we're in the bye weeks now, so there's very few. There's less games.
Chief, I can see that Senka kicking in, man.
Yeah,
that Senka's starting to kick in.
I needed something, man. I was dragging, at the beginning of the show.
You didn't get a nap today in the back of the truck.
I did not.
No,
man.
you did.
You did. I was busy working, my man.
All right, let's move on to baseball.
Oh, so, we have to.
Yeah, we do. So again, the main event will not be making a trip to the World Series this year.
Well, we can still go. We can go. We just won't be watching the Rays.
Yeah. So, by the way, last year the Tampa Bay Rays did play the Dodgers in the World Series. The main event got an opportunity to go out and see that game, and we created a vlog around it. So go check that out. It's kind of fun. Although I will tell you, it is not fun watching the other team celebrate a World Series victory. No, that's not so much fun. But other than that, it was a great trip and it was a good time. Go check out that vlog. It's on our YouTube channel. So, boys, what happened? We win 100 games in the regular season. We win the first game of the playoffs of the ALDS 6-0. We blanked the Red Sox. I would say at that point, we're like, dude, we're right back in the saddle. What happened?
Ran out of gas, man. As Sling Bay likes to say, ain't got no gas in it.
Red Sox got hot, and we were down. We had some pitchers. We had some people injured that we just couldn't afford to have out.
Kevin Cash, he made lemonade out of lemons. He really did. I mean, when you look at this payroll, we were $100 million short of Boston's payroll. Okay, I mean that's huge. You're talking 4 or 5 marquee players at that price difference. The fact that we won 100 games this year is really amazing. I'm disappointed that I'm sad. I put it this way, I'm sad that we didn't go further. I'm not really disappointed, man. I mean, it was unlucky. We didn't have a single starter available for that division series that was on our roster for opening day. Chris Archer was a no-show the entire year. Tyler Glasnow out. Rich Hill got traded. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you traded Rich Hill at a time in the season where we probably thought we had enough pitching. I think even at that time we had just gotten Archer back off of injured reserve, so you thought you were going to have him. Listen, they took a gamble, right? I mean, they took a gamble because they traded, some pitching at the trade deadline. They got Nelson Cruz, which, although his production, from his production once he got to the Rays was not the same production he had all season, but he did serve pretty good protection for Wander Franco. But I think you're right. We go into the playoffs thinking that we were starting pitching heavy, and we end up really not having any. I'm disappointed too. You guys are going to kill me for what I'm about to say.
Oh boy.
Right. But I think it's time to let Kevin Cash go.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Whoa, that is
Hey.
a bold statement.
CFS right there, man.
Hear me out.
Yes.
Hear me out. Hear me out, though. This guy has made poor decisions in the managing of a pitching staff for now 2 straight series, right? Listen, we all know, and none of us were happy with the decision he made to pull Snell in Game 6 of the World Series, right? We run into this series. I'm shaking my head going, in Game 2, we pulled Boz after 2 innings with a lead, and we had knocked out their ace. I don't understand the decision right there to pull Boz out of the game. Now, Pooh Bear, you're going to give me some, well, the sabermetrics say this or that or whatever.
Mhm.
Like, hey, he was only designed to pitch 2 innings. Well, I saw the guy pitch other games this season, and he pitched further than 2 innings.
I'm not going to give you the sabermetrics. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you that's what the GM said to do. I just like we talked about after Game 6, the World Series last year, this is not Kevin Cash's decisions alone. This is coming from ownership. Ownership says, do these things, and Kevin Cash says, okay. That it's come out from other sources that have said that is what it is.
Whether that is what it is or not, I'm going to tell you, no one else is going to manage this team to 100 wins other than Kevin Cash.
That's it.
That is it.
I mean,
he had okay. If you want to try to throw him out because of 2 mistakes, I mean, who hasn't made 2 mistakes?
It's not. Listen, I'm sure he made other mistakes, but my point is the guy doesn't know how to manage a pitching staff, and we're at the point where we're consistently getting into the playoffs, and we're losing because of the decisions that he's making with the pitching staff. I think you could coach this team to 100 wins.
No, absolutely not. These guys, they consistently, outplay their ability, and that comes from leadership. That comes from Kevin Cash right there.
Pat, does that say boob or boo?
Boo.
Right.
Boo with an 8,
So,
which is strange.
Here's the other thing. So game 4.
You can't
Here's
read,
the other
just
thing
like
I
you
want to know.
can't-
Here's the other thing I want to know. I want to know why. And by the way, in Game 3, Patino comes in and pitches. Granted, he gives up the walk-off in Game 3, right? But all season, the guy's been a starting pitcher. If he was available to start Game 3, why didn't he start Game 3? We ran some dude out there none of us have ever heard of to start the game. Right? And then in Game 4, if McClanahan was available to start, why didn't he start? Instead, they roll him out after McHugh threw 18 pitches in 2 innings and was rolling. And he pulls McHugh, or however you want to say his name, Pooh Bear, for McClanahan, who, of course, did give up the booty. But my point is, if the guy is designed to be a starting pitcher, why are you putting him in the game in the 3rd inning?
Yeah.
None of those decisions make any
with that.
sense.
You need to be a White Sox fan. That's what you just need to go back to old school baseball. You can cheer on Tony La Russa in the White Sox because that's how he plays. Just go right ahead. But the rest of baseball, the Giants who were just in the NLDS, the Rays, they're all trying to do what the Rays are doing, which is working. It may not produce the trophies on the field just yet, but it's getting there. Nobody has won more baseball games than the Rays have in the past 3 years. That was said during the ALDS.
Yeah. You know what? We ran a guy off on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for having that kind of a track record too, by the way.
What
and
track
the guy
record?
who came in won a Super Bowl.
What track record? Getting him to the game? Get him to the
yeah. I mean, like we had great successful years with Tony Dungy. And listen, by the way, I'm the first one to say that was Tony Dungy's Super Bowl, but something had to change to get them over the line. And I'm saying something has to change for the Rays to get to the next level.
So who would be your pick as manager? Aaron Boone?
Cliff
He's
is
about to
fine
get
with me.
fired. Aaron Boone's been fired from the Yankees with their $300 million payroll and couldn't get past them either.
I mean,
You
Chief
wanna hire
can
him?
manage him for all I've got.
I'll do it. Let's why not? Let's do it, man. I'll go. Hey, Let's go, dude. I can eat. I love popcorn in the dugout. Let's do it, man. I'm in. You know.
Listen, it is very, very frustrating.
Hey,
I get it.
And I will get thrown out of more games than Kevin Cash has ever been thrown out of. Oh, yeah. I'll kick
Don't
shoes.
worry, I'll have your back, Chief.
There we go.
So,
that's what I'm talking about.
Pooh Bear, you go first, and then I do have something.
No, I'm just going to say it is very frustrating. I hear the frustration. I understand that it doesn't look traditional, and it can be very frustrating. It is
traditional or untraditional. It didn't work. Did not work.
You're right. But when it does, are you going to stand up and say this is what worked? Because they were a game away last year, and yeah, they were a whole series away, 2 series away this year. But it looked a lot better coming in. But there was whatever. I'm not going to get into the injuries and the reasons why. But the fact is that this type of coaching, this type of statistic position play is the new norm. It is going to be the new norm. It is going to produce a champion here sooner rather than later.
So, and I agree with Pooh on that. That is the way the baseball is going to be done. But I do think that they're going to learn how to. So the Rays, this philosophy works well because it's a numbers philosophy and it works well over long periods of time. Okay, and when you get into the playoffs, okay, competition changes. Okay, but they're still using numbers off a competition that is different. Okay, you got good teams, bad teams, average teams over that long period of time. It gets real tight in these playoffs, and I don't think that they look enough at short-term statistics and some of the things that Pooh Bear was saying, like, you know, how these players, for example, last year, Blake Snell coming off the mound when he's on fire in the 6th game, utilizing Nickerson, right?
Nick Anderson.
Nick Anderson. I always want to call him Nickerson, but utilizing Nick Anderson when he gave up the booty every game in the playoffs, a home run. Mm-hmm. And you've got to start looking at, now we have enough numbers in the playoffs to start determining some different things and not over a season average when it's against different competition. I think they have to learn how to massage that data a little better.
You know, I think at the end of the day, in both of those games, you know, we lost 2 games in a row on walk-offs, game 3 and 4. And in both games, the offense fought back. Right. We were down early and we fought back in both of those games. We were down early in game 2 until what's his name hit the grand slam Luplo or whatever in the first inning. You know, so those guys clawed back, but it's just, you know, you run out of steam. Like, why don't you set them up for success from the beginning? That's the part that is frustrating, you know, and it wasn't just that. I mean, Lau goes 0 for 18.
Right.
You know, and 9 strikeouts, by the way. This is a guy who had 99 RBIs and led the team in home runs in the regular season, and he absolutely doesn't even show up in the playoffs. You know, I don't think Nelson Cruz, other than a game 1 home run, didn't really have much of a showing in the playoffs for us either. But I did think there were some promising things to see there.
Yes, let's look forward to the future. Yes, there we go.
Wander Franco is the real deal.
Oh, yeah.
I think, and I've been saying this to you guys a long time, I think Wander Franco in the next 5 years will be either the best player in baseball or one of, if he's not top 5. Yeah. This guy is going to hit for average every single year. He's going to knock in 30 home runs or so. Still don't think his home run swing is there. I think he's got some more work on that. He's not going to be a home run hitter. He's not going to be a Giancarlo Stanton or Mike Judge. He's going to be a singles and doubles and triples hitter.
Well, if he hits 315, I don't care that he doesn't hit a bunch of home runs.
Right. Well, a lot of people judge that as, you know, the best player in baseball. Pete Alonso hits 50 home runs. Well, Pete Alonso, not that great.
Strikes out 500 times. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, the type of player Franco is going to be a better player. Anyway, he's encouraging to watch. Randy Arozarena is very encouraging to watch.
Those 2 guys are the future of the franchise.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I'm looking forward to the future here. We know McClanahan is going to be an ace here sooner rather than later.
And by the way, most likely those 2 guys will be back-to-back Rookie of the Year. It's a good chance A-Roz wins Rookie of the Year this year.
Yes.
And Wander Franco certainly will take a run at it, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. The pitching staff is going to look fantastic with some more experience under their belt with McClanahan and Boz and then now Patino. You get Glasnow back maybe towards the end of next season after his Tommy Johns is over. So, and there's more to come in Durham. Every single every single team in the Rays organization won their respective division and or their respective league. Every single one. Durham, Montgomery, Prince, all the way down. They all won. This is a winning organization. It just hasn't been fruitful in the major leagues just yet. It soon will be. This is no time to panic, Rays fans. Hang on to your hats. Hang on to your gear. Good times are still coming.
No panic here. So I'm going to be interested to see what happens with Wander Franco next year, because the sophomore year's the year that really gives everybody the test. And if he continues to excel, because they have tape on you now, right?
Yep.
And they're going to start throwing at him, stuff that they figured out from last year. Now, I still think he is going to be what Pooh Bear says, top best player in the league in 5 years. But this is the test next year in the sophomore year. Now, if they're smart, they'll sign him to a Longoria type deal now and keep him around for a long time.
The question is, does he sign a deal like that?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Or is he looking for who's the kid that was out who's in Philly? Is he looking for Bryce Harper money?
The thing that worries me is that the Rays have a significant history of trading away good players for more prospects. I don't want to see Boz traded away for 3 more prospects. I don't want to see Franco, traded away for more prospects. I mean, I am ready to see these guys. What Pooh Bear, is forecasting is these guys they're homegrown and they're going to be in the organization, and we're going to start actually seeing them. But I mean, for crying out, look at around the league. We got the Rays of the West, playing out there. We've got, more guys starting that we farmed all around the league, probably than any other team out there.
Yeah. All right. So we were going to talk. We're running out a little bit of time. We were going to talk a little bit about what the Rays should do in the offseason. Let's shelve that conversation for next Sunday. We'll come back to it. The playoffs will still be going on. I'm sure we'll have some things to talk about in regards to the MLB playoffs. So with that, I'm going to shift. How about a little bit of You Can't Fix Stupid? Let's have some fun. Chief, what you got for us?
From the great state of Minnesota. You guys think it's a good idea if you've got a rare Eurasian owl and he's not trained, but you're training him just to let him take off and fly on his own and see if he comes back? Dude, that's what the Minnesota Zoo did. They said, hey,
I was told once that if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours.
Yeah, well, guess what?
So they come across this rare owl.
Yeah.
And they're trying to train it to do tricks for their zoo show or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And
the thing just took off.
Yeah, he says, whoa, wait a minute here. I don't have to go back there, apparently. Owls are wise, right? And he says, I don't have to go back. This thing's been missing. It went missing on October the 1st, and they're just now telling the public about it because they're like, well, I guess he's not coming back. And they're asking the public's help, to start look in the skies to see if you see your owl.
Well, my thing is like, if this thing is rare, it's got no community, right? I mean, where's it going to go hang out with other owls, right? Obviously, it will be able to eat stuff, right? Yeah. But, what's it going to do?
I don't know.
I assume it's going to do things owls do. It's going to hoot and it's going to eat mice.
It's going to eat mice. So, that reminds me, Chief, you used to have a dog. I think it was Sarge that would, whenever he would escape, you could lure him back with Cheetos. And we would drive around your neighborhood.
That's true, man.
Sarge, we got Cheetos. Sarge. Clearly there was no. So, am I here? I'm here. Got me?
There
Hello?
we got you.
Okay.
We got
so, was there no treat to offer to the owl to get him to come back?
I don't know. It just says that, they're out there training him. And they let him go, and they didn't come back. I mean, that's the thing. They let him go, he didn't come back. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So, switching gears again. So the Lightning kick off their title defense. The defending back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, Tampa Bay Lightning. So for through 3 games, their defense looks very similar to our football team.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It looks like they've got a little bit of a hangover there from the Stanley Cup. They had a better game yesterday where they won in overtime against the Washington Capitals 2-1. That is 2 overtime wins of the last 2 games, so that does show some moxie. But the first 2 games, I believe they gave up 6 goals each, and that is with Andre Vasilevsky in net. But they did tighten it up last night.
That first game, there was 3 of that were empty netters. The game 1,
that's
there was
true.
3 empty netters. So
that's true.
Those don't count against him. But the fact is that they are battling. They've got a brand new 4th line. They're trying to work. They're actually restructured the 3rd line as well. A lot of the defensemen are new. They're trying to work through that. And, they didn't play in training camp. Again, it's very similar to what the NFL does. Your starters don't really play a whole lot in your preseason games. You're really looking to see how you're going to fill out your depth of your roster. So you're seeing a lot of that in those preseason games. I'm not too worried about them. Again, they've already switched gears and started playing better. About halfway through that second game when they were down again 6 goals, and they fought back and won in overtime 7-6 Thursday night, same time the Bucs were playing. So, they're showing some resiliency still. Not worried about them. There is some concern with Kucherov, has an injury.
Yes,
we'll probably should learn more about that tomorrow. Of course, hockey famously doesn't exactly tell us what's wrong with these players. They just
Hey, listen, so long as the guy just comes back during the playoffs and helps us win another
Whoa.
Stanley Cup, I don't care.
Cheaters! Bring the hate, New York. Bring it.
Has that happened before? Did that happen once?
Yeah, it happened.
All right. So, so we'll continue to watch the Lightning. Hopefully the defense tightens up. The 2 games were just a fluke. So check it out. In college football this week, we see another top 5 team downed by the Perdue Boilermakers. Iowa, number 2 in the country, goes down. And I think we were just saying last week, they've not played anybody. Well, I wouldn't call Perdue anybody either.
No.
Yeah, sure. You're not wrong. You're not. Cincinnati, by the way. Cincinnati, now the number 2 team in the country, still hasn't played anybody. They crushed the UCF yesterday, and so they're up to number 2 now. Alabama took their frustrations out on Mississippi's poor Mississippi State.
Man.
Dude, Mississippi State's looking at this going, "Oh, it's coming."
We said last week you don't want to be the team that plays Alabama after a loss.
I said that. So we were watching that game yesterday, and I said my statement was, I think Alabama will score within 2 minutes of their first possession. And they did not get the ball first, but I think they scored within 2 minutes of the game starting. So they took it away, and they scored, and just I think it was just over 2 minutes.
I didn't catch the end of that game. What did the final score end up being?
49-9. Could have been worse. Could have been worse for them.
All right.
So Georgia looks for real.
They do. They looked good against Kentucky.
Yeah.
Who was another undefeated team who lost.
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Yeah. And, Florida just continues to stink, man. I don't know what is wrong with these guys.
They're bad. They're not good.
They went toe-to-toe with Alabama, and since then, they have just not produced. I mean, it is just not good to see.
You know what we need to do, B-Love? So next week, TSG and the Chief aren't going to be here, so it's going to be me and B-Love. We need to run down the reasons why the state of Florida is not producing college success right now, because there are no teams in the state of Florida who collegially would be considered good.
Flagler College still undefeated.
So is University of Tampa, for that matter.
I haven't played a game.
Yeah. All right.
Man.
Well, how about, did you guys see the story? Lane Kiffin is the head football coach at Ole Miss, and they go to Tennessee, and where he has a little bit of history, and they basically run him out of the stadium, and he gets hit with a golf ball. Like, that's kind of dangerous.
Yeah,
very. Those hurt.
Yeah, that's unclassy. It's okay to boo the guy, but it's not okay to start throwing stuff at him.
Never. It's never okay to throw things at anyone on the field. The only time it's okay to throw anything on the field is when the home run ball for the opposing team is hit into your stance. You can throw that ball back. Other than that, don't throw anything.
Yeah. Wasn't the deal at Tennessee is that he signed on to be the head coach and then resigned before the season even started or something like that?
Something he got a better deal. I think it was when he got the USC job.
He might have got the USC job or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, where
he's always had some sketchy, coaching dealings and being fired, and he's another one of those guys where sometimes he just skeezes me out, right? It's kind of like with Gruden. He just kind of gives me the wrong vibe.
Well, how about, did you see the news report today that Ogeron from LSU, apparently they've reached a deal where he will not return as coach next season. I'm really hoping that Coach Prime shows up in LSU next season.
Wow. Well, he's only got 1 year with Jackson State, so he needs a little more experience.
Yeah, but dude, how much fun is Coach Prime?
I mean, in the commercials, he's great. I need to see.
I don't know if he's a good coach or not, but it looks like a lot of fun.
That's what he's. So they played in the spring league, not the fall league last year. So we need to see what they're doing this year.
They will give Oregon a run for the best dressed team. I promise you that.
If they have the money, they sure will.
Money or not, dude, they will find it.
You think he's just going to pay up? I'm buying the helmets this week, boys.
I can't have my team coming out looking like that.
Man, I know that's the SEC for LSU, but how could he play Florida State after that? I mean, that's the whole thing about being at Jackson State, where he's never going to play Florida State. It's just not going to happen. So, but if he were to, oh man, that'd be, get your popcorn ready. That'd be a good one.
Look, at this point right now, I think he wants to play Florida State. I mean, they're another Florida team that's not shining.
Hey, so. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to play Florida State right now?
Yeah.
Terrible.
So listen, we are
guys.
out of
Let's
time.
not give Georgia any props. Okay, that's my wife's team. I'm a Gator, and we don't give Georgia Bulldogs props on this show. Okay, because I got to hear it.
Sorry.
I'm about to have to go hear it.
Well, sorry. We when you were in the bathroom, we covered that already.
You got to get an extender for your earphones.
Oh my goodness.
So we're out of time. We were going to talk about a subject that I talked about in the intro we didn't get to. And Pooh Bear, I think we can get into it next week because I think some things will have unfolded that'll give us some more to talk about. But, we'll see how that goes. But next week's show, the Buccaneers play at 4:30 next Sunday, which means the main event will be busy watching football. Mm-hmm. So instead of having a live show next Sunday night, we will be live on Monday night at the same time. So 7:00 Monday night, just a day later. So with that, Pooh Bear, take us home, man.
Little programming alert. Probably the next 2 weeks in a row will be on Monday nights. But anyway, that's all we've got for now. We'll be back again, like B-Love just said, next Monday night at 7:00 for your entertainment, because that's what we're here for. And boy, do we have some big entertaining events coming for you soon. Very excited to get that and get that rolling. Until then, like and subscribe to see more so you don't miss out on a single thing that we ever do. And we'll see you next Monday. Say goodnight, Chief.
Good night.